I want to tell you why you, not him, not her, well, him and her as well, but specifically why you are so important as a composer. Now, I'd like to approach this from two directions. The first would be a broad view, and the second one I will home in on what it is to be a composer and why you are so important. So composition is a creative skill, it's a creative art, if you like. So if we expand that to other types of creative process, we might think of writing, obviously, art, painting, drawing, sculpting, poetry. These are probably what most of us think as creative pursuits, but there are many others. Acting, for example, is creative. Making movies, designing stuff, graphic designers, illustrators, chefs, putting those magic ingredients together to delight our taste buds. These are all creative activities. And people who engage in these are what I would term creatives. Now, unfortunately, and I say this because I do think it is unfortunate, not everyone is a creative. How many people do you know who will go to work, they'll come home, put their feet up, watch the TV and go to bed? And then the weekend they'll go to the pub with their mates and go home and go to bed. And many people, I think, seem to be quite happy or satisfied, or perhaps even they've got into a rut and this is just their life and this is just what they do. And I think it's a shame, because I think everyone, just about everyone, has a spark of creativity in them. And I would suggest it really needs to be encouraged. Now, certainly in the UK, at least, I don't think creativity is being taught in our schools. If you live in another part of the world, I'd really like to know if creativity is taught in your school system. Let me know in the comments. Now, what is so special and great about creativity is that you are not just creative in your own single discipline. The creative spark, if you like, spills out into all other areas of your life. So you will also be creative with your family and friends, with your work colleagues, perhaps in your work as well. You see a system which is being used perhaps inefficiently and you think, we could improve that. So you could possibly improve your working environment and the business that you're working for. Now, most of my friends are probably what you would call creatives. They are writers, poets, actors. They do stand-up, they do improv. If you don't know what improv is, it's short for improvisation. And when people question that, if I mention it, I say, whose line is it anyway? And then they usually know what it's about. So I did this for about 10 years. I taught it for about a year. I can guarantee you two things. Sorry, this is only slightly off topic. I guarantee you two things. The first is that it will initially put you well outside your comfort zone. But the second thing is you will have more fun doing improv than anything else. That's a guarantee. So my friends belong to this group of what I call creatives, and we did an escape room. You probably know what an escape room is. If you don't, it's a room where you go along and you pay someone some money to lock you in. And there are lots of puzzles you have to solve in order to escape from it. So I went along with this bunch of creatives and we got out in record time. The company keeps a record of the time it takes people to get out, and we beat the record. And it was fun. So that's why I think creativity is so important, not just for getting out of locked rooms. So let's home in on you as a composer, as a musician, as someone who makes music. Now, of the creative pursuits we've mentioned, I think music is a slightly, can I use the word ethereal one? Because where does music come from? Where do the music ideas come from? For most people, you start off by learning an instrument, you listen to music that you like, you start copying the music, and then perhaps you start writing music in the style of your favourite composers. Unless you're Paul McCartney and go to sleep and wake up with a hit song in your head, it's a bit of a slog, let's be honest, but hopefully an enjoyable slog. But let me tell you why you as a composer are so important in the broader scheme of things. First of all, for the reasons mentioned, you are a creative and have, I believe, much to offer friends, family and society as a whole, even if you're not aware of it. I suspect this little creative spark may just pop out when you are least expecting it. But to home in on the music composition side, most of us tend to start composing by trying to emulate the acts and the songs and the composers who we like. Maybe we try to copy or recreate some of their music, or maybe we just would like to write something in that style. That's how I started. I was a big fan of Bach in the early days, and thankfully the pieces I wrote trying to emulate him are probably lost to history. But when I discovered electronic music and Tangerine Dream and Jean-Michel Jean Vangelis, who were probably my 3 favourite electronic music composers and main influences, then of course I tried to write music in their style. And I particularly liked the step sequenced bass lines of Tangerine Dream. Berlin School rules. Now, some people are quite happy doing this and even recreate some of their favourite tracks using their own systems. And this is great, this is fine, this is still creative. But if you want to write original music, I suspect that you will take these influences and process them through your own individual viewpoint. Now, your influences may be many and varied, and no 2 people are going to have exactly the same influences. Even if they listen to the same artist, I don't think 2 people are going to have exactly the same reaction. They are not going to compose the same music just because they listen to the same bands. Because you are an individual. And you bring your individuality to your music when you are writing it, regardless of what might have initially inspired it. Because you are unique, you will not write music exactly the same as anyone else, even if initially it sounds slightly derivative. No matter, it will be your derivative. No one else has your perspective. No one else has your influences. No one else has your spark of creativity. No one else can put these things together to produce the music that you write. And this is important for 2 reasons. The first, of course, is that you are creating original music which other people hopefully will enjoy and would like to listen to. And the second reason, and I think this is probably the most important to you as an individual, although the other reasons are more important, I believe, to society as a whole. But for you, it is, or it should be, a fulfilling creative act. Now, I know composing music is not always easy. Well, I've never found it particularly easy, but I have always enjoyed it. And I do get a sense of satisfaction out of completing a piece of music. There are about 90 pieces of music on this channel. I shall leave a playlist somewhere if you want to listen to any of them. But there's a great sense of satisfaction, of fulfillment, and of accomplishment. So this is why I think you are important as a composer. Not only does it give you your own sense of accomplishment, but the creative process will also spill out into society. And taken together, I think this must be one of the best and most rewarding ways to spend your time, to live. So do you get a sense of accomplishment when you're composing music, or particularly when you've finished composing music? Let me know in the comments. Are you aware of just how creative you are? And can you think of examples where this may have spilled out into friends, family, society in general? I hope you found this little discussion interesting, and if you sometimes flounder around the composition process, perhaps you found this a little bit inspiring. I do hope so. Well, that's enough pontificating from me. I shall now go and see if I can compose some music. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in the next one.